Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some PathOfExile 1 discussion. Welcome to day 5 of Teaser season. Patch 3.26 and the upcoming Secrets of the Atlas expansion is a little bit over 2 weeks away, the time that I'm recording this video. And today, Grinding Gear Games have a pretty short teaser related to Betrayal changes. Now, it's worth noting that they call this Betrayal improvements. I'm going to just call them changes because I think most people will like these changes, but there will definitely be people who prefer the 3.25 status quo. There's going to be a few things that are changing here, but the first thing I want to point out is something that's not a teaser in the true sense, but it's just Grinding Gear Games reminding us they're aware of the existence of a build that's been pretty dominant during 3.25. Here you can see a character that is using Ephemeral Edge. They are definitely playing on a Trickster. This looks like a necrotic armor. There's an ES helmet, ES shield, ES boots, ES gloves, Mage Blood, Nimbus, and Voice of the Storm. I wonder if this is just them saying, hey, we're aware of this build, you should probably expect some changes coming to it in 3.26. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if this one does end up getting nerfed. It has been pretty dominant in 3.25. All those things about hidden potential teasers aside, let's talk about the biggest change that's coming that is just unambiguously a quality of life change. This one is really simple. You can now right-click an item that's veiled in order to unveil it. You no longer need to either click on June, then click a dialogue option for her, or bypass that just by control clicking her. No, you can instead right click the item and save yourself a little bit of time. This one's just going to be unambiguously an improvement. However, when we have a look at what happens when you look at the actual item unveiling process, something is missing here. And this is the line that provides the amount of XP that you have towards this particular craft. You're no longer going to learn the lower tier versions, the bench versions of these crafted mods through actually unveiling them. Instead, you're just simply going to learn those the same way that you learn other crafts in the game. You'll encounter a little doodad when you're running various maps, crafting recipe doodad like this one that's in Grotto, and then when you click on it, Elemental and Chaos Resistance rank 1 has been learned. Now this is going to be one of those things that's going to be better for some people, worse for others. Particularly hardcore players, there's definitely a section of the player base that will farm up veiled items early in order to get all of these crafts really, really early in progression. So for instance, resetting the Foothills zone over and over again in order to look and see if there's a Betrayal encounter there. If there is a Betrayal encounter there, doing it, collecting veiled items, and then using that as a way to get these crafts. This is no longer going to be an option because you just simply won't get the craft if you unveil, say, Cold and Chaos Hybrid Resistance on an item. Instead, to get this particular craft, you'll need to get yourself a Grotto map. And the other thing I expect will happen here is that some of the crafts that players want reasonably early in progression might end up being in high tier maps. Now, discussing where these crafts are going to be sourced from, Grinding Gear Games use some terminology that isn't in common use amongst the PathOfExile 1 player base, and that is core maps. Now, there's a few interpretations that the player base have had so far when discussing this over on the PathOfExile 1 subreddit and a couple of other places. The first one of them is tier 1 to 16 non-unique maps. The second one is tier 1 to 16 non-unique maps plus those unique maps that appear on the Atlas. The third one is those maps plus also tier 17 maps. And the fourth interpretation is that this will be something new that's introduced in patch 3.26. Ultimately, we do not know yet which of these is correct or whether it's something else entirely, but I expect that by the end of day 1 of Secrets of the Atlas, we'll have an authoritative list on where all of these crafts have been moved to. The other thing that's pointed out at the very end of Grinding Gear Games' video is that they say there will be further changes coming to Betrayal. So this is not a full list of all the changes, but the things that they've announced so far are decoupling the learning of recipes from unveiling items and the quality of life changes to the way that you unveil items. One last thing I do want to say on this. This is going to result in a decrease in the number of people in a trade league that spec Betrayal early because it's just simply not as important as it used to be. And that is going to mean that veiled orbs are likely to get more expensive as a result of these changes. Fewer people farming them means less of them in circulation, and less of them in circulation means that people will bid the prices higher in order to get these powerful crafting tools. So keep that one in mind. Like I said, there'll be things that people like about this change. There'll also be things people dislike. I'm going to leave it there though. May your veiled orbs have interesting results.